I have successfully logged in. Let me know how Lactus and the others are doing.
Roger! Eric is tracing their movements. It appears they are currently engaged in combat with a mobile interception tank. Bucks' Level 3 counterterrorism armament has been activated by Eric. Captain, proceed west from your current location to rendezvous with them.
Understood. Continue tracing their movements.
Captain!
What is it?
The life signs of 6 Archon police officers have disappeared. It's possible that they were killed in battle with the macrophage.
Understood. Can you identify the type of tank that they're fighting?
Yeah, it's a Sleipnir model, manufactured by Tao Industries. This model was decommissioned when I was a kid. While it's an outdated model, it seems to have been refined significantly for us to use in virtual space. I'm not sure whether we can rely on weapon release specifications from that time or not.
I see. Tell Eric to change the armaments of Lactus and the others to counter-terrorism level 6. Consider our future operations. Change the armament parameters to stealth mode. Also, don't forget to transfer mine as well, so I can receive it when we meet up.
Copy that. If we continue with further direct communication, we run the risk of being deleted by security measures and compromising your location. So refrain from further communication for now.
I'll leave the tracing to you.
Yes, sir!
Hey guys, Luxker here. Welcome back to the next part on Xenosaga Pied Piper. Last time, Menace's group got stopped by a mysterious macrophage called Sleipnir and had a lot of people die in front of the group. This time, we're going to play Jan and meet up with Menace's group to help defeat the giant macrophage. Now, I just want to take a moment right here before I continue on forward about this area right here, just to show off the differences between graphics from the original mobile game to the remake. This is what the original game looked like basically in this area. As you can see, the trees and brickwork are a little bit less detailed, and the grass texture is a little bit muddy on the sides. But, like, I feel like, in general, the remake really touched up the original's visuals really nicely. Anyways, let's go ahead and continue forward. As long as I'm on my own here, I should try to avoid battle as much as possible. By using the walker dash button, I can control how fast I go. When I run faster, it makes more noise. I also have to make sure to stay out of enemy sight. Indeed we shall. So, as you run around a little bit around here, enemies will spot you much more, but if you walk... I pressed the wrong button. I'm going in and out of here just to make sure this responds. Oh. Damn it! Well, I guess I'm gonna not worry about that anymore. Alright, so, if you press the walk or run button around the enemy won't really notice you when you come close to them. As you can see, the enemy just doesn't notice where you are until you're like a few squares right by them. I do not want to fight these enemies, so I am going to run away. I do not want to fight all these enemies on my own as Jan, so basically we have a little bit of a stealth section right here. You want to use these electric barrels to basically go around the enemy and pick up items. Right here is a speed 2 vest right here. I want to go ahead and equip this right here. This right here, if you go into equipment, if you notice that, if you don't know what the best equipment you use if you have on a party member, you can use the optimize button right here, which automatically puts the speed 2 vest on Jan, which is basically his next armor right here. But, oh god, I gotta get around this enemy. Okay. Whew, that was a close one. Anyways, I want to go over one probably like really huge change from the original version compared to the fan recreation. The enemies in the original version of Pied Piper are random encounters. You won't encounter these guys on the run just trying to fight you. So yeah, there's also no stealth section in this room either in the original version of the game, and not even a running or slowing down button either. So this was completely new that was added in the fan recreation. And I'll be perfectly honest, it really adds to the depth of the mechanics of the gameplay here. So it's really cool nonetheless. The enemy's weapons are far more specialized for virtual space than I anticipated. If the battle continues like this, we'll be in danger as well. I'm aware of that. Now, what should we do? Quick, to the right! No lasers for you, buddy. Are you alright? I'm so sorry. I'll give you a chance to explain later. More importantly, what are you doing about the gatekeeper? Bugs. Yes. Eric should have changed your weapons systems to counter terrorism level 6. Quickly transmit the new armament to everyone. Really? Then I'll prepare everyone now? No matter how much the macrophage has improved, it's still a human creation. The fact that we were able to infiltrate here is proof that we're still one step ahead. That mobile tank is nothing more than a well-made program. So, let's take care of it. So right here, we get a lot of weapons here for everybody. Zero Crusher, Delta Edge 2, Cycle Driver, and Whip P. Whip P. Not a Split P, but a Whip P. Anyways, let's go ahead and go over some more stuff right here. And it's more so equipping weapons here. So we already equip Jan, but if you go and use the Q and W keys on the keyboard, or clicking and touching these arrows on the side right here, you can go in between party members. You can also use the L1 or R keys to switch between among party members right here. But yeah, we have a full party right here going into this. So let's go ahead and equip Lactus with the survival wear that we just got. The combat suit is not really anything that great in general. At least, not that I know of, because that's my first time seeing that. Next up, I want to go into each character's statuses real quick. So, I want to go over pretty much each individual status. We've already learned about what HP and EP do. HP is basically how many points a character takes before you go down. EP is abbreviated as ether points, and it is the amount of points needed for text or ether. Strength is the amount of physical attack a character has, with text also counting. Vitality is the amount of defense a character has against physical attack. So the ability to take less damage from attacks the more the number goes up, basically. Ether attack is the amount of ether attack power a character has, which includes healing a party member. Ether defense, the amount of defense a character has against ether attacks. Agility determines the turn order of the character in battles. The more the number goes up, the more likely you to go in first in battles. Luck determines the probability of getting critical hits, hitting attacks, and dodging attacks. The probability goes up the more the number goes up, basically. When you get increased stats from leveling up or equipping characters. But there's a brand new feature in Pied Piper that'll allow you to gain more stats. And that is with the skill trees right here. These are entirely brand new for the fan recreation. And the skill trees basically work similar to how they were in Xenosaga Episode 1 and 3, where you gain stats and new attacks along the way when you go ahead and equip a skill on somebody. You gain a skill by using skill points that you get from leveling up, so Jan here has 2 skill points here. So with the amount of skill points I have, I will learn a new tech called Heavy Tackle 1. So as you can see right here, the skill is highlighted, meaning that you have already learned it. So now learning that skill, you can get to take different branching paths on the skill tree, which increase your stats, gain new text or ether, or gain abilities such as recovering EP each turn. Learning how to use this skill tree is extremely helpful for tough fights ahead, so use SP wisely. Choosing each path does not change the general stat growth of each character who goes on the path of a skill tree. It's just a general flat buff for the entire character. As we go on to Menace, it's a little bit more interesting because they have their own starts to their trees with different branches. I'm going to go ahead and have her start off by learning Thunderbolt 1 here. And then let's go ahead and go to Lactus's tree. It's even more interesting because not only does he have 3 trees, but he can learn a bunch of different texts and ethers. I'm gonna go ahead and have Lactus learn Confiscate her first. It's actually really helpful to learn, like, at this point in the game, to just have him go through this skill tree. I'll explain more about that later. With Bugs, thankfully he does not have as more trees, but as you can see right here, the branches are extremely long. Like, look at that. Like, look how long that bottom one is. That would take you so long just to get through that. So, but wow, I didn't know Bugs' circuitry included long branches on his stuff, so... I want to go ahead and start off with B-Blade, and I want to give him the defensive ether on top of that. Now, I'm going to say this, because the game is so short as it is, it's next to impossible to learn every skill in this skill tree on your first playthrough unless you farm for SP, which is why it's good to learn skills that you think are the most useful during your playthrough. So don't really copy mine in general, because like this is the recommended way to go through the game like this when you learn skills. It's not for everybody's taste to just learn the same skills over and over again. But during sections of the game where I have time, I will talk about each character's stats and skills that they can learn and what they can mean for the party. Alright, it's time to stop talking and let's start fighting Sleipnir! It's our first boss of the game, Sleipnir emerged. So, let's go ahead and discuss the new attacks that we learned from skills. Let's start with Lactus first. He now can learn the Confiscate skill, which uses a lot of EP, but when we use it, it steals a scope from an enemy. It is very useful to have in boss fights, just to be able to have Confiscate, take something from an enemy, and just be able to keep that equipment or item that it has. Unfortunately, it uses a whole ton of EP. As you can see, Lactus has 20 EP right now, so only use it at the beginning of fights. And if you use Confiscate too often, it will not work. You only have one item per enemy here. So, but yeah, that scope is a pretty useful piece of equipment in general to just basically learn. Menace right here, I'm gonna have her use Thunderbolt 1, which is the weakness for Sleipnir. As you can see, it does 174 damage, so that's a really big amount of damage in here. But anyways, right here is Jan's first fight, so let's go over what he can learn here, what techs he can use here. First up is Painkiller, which is a small physical attack. Now for when we're on Bugs' turn, let's go ahead and have him use B-Blade, which right here is a small physical attack, similar to what Jan has as well. So they're basically the same small, weak physical attacks in general. For Lactus, let's go ahead and have him use Jackal right here. And have him do anything. Menace is dead here. Don't worry, Menace, we'll revive you sooner or later. Here we have Jan's heavy Tackle 1, which is a stronger physical attack and can hit twice as well when we use it. So it did over 100 damage right there. Actually, on Bugs' turn, I'm gonna go ahead and have him use one of our Revive M's to heal up Menace right here. So when using a Revive, it basically revives a party member back to half health right here. I'm trying to think what I want to do here. I think I'm gonna do a Phoenix Strike on this guy. And, I was gonna actually have Menace heal herself right here. Let's have Menace heal. Get up to full health right here because Menace is so freaking squishy. Let's go ahead and have Jan use Heavy Tackle again. Get that EP up a little bit more. So now let's go ahead and have Bugs learn our new Ether move, which is Defensive. This basically, like, as it says right here, increases our Ether defense and vitality and makes us take less hits from anything in general. So, really helpful move to have in boss fights is those stat increasing moves. Let's have Lactus use Shackle again. You'll soon see later on in the game that Lactus's Jackal move, the more he attacks, the Jackal actually does way more damage the more he uses it. So it's really helpful in that regard there. Let's go ahead and have Jan use his special attack right here, which is called Penetrate. It's a very strong physical attack that hits multiple times. So look at how much damage that did there. It even got a critical hit. So it's honestly just very nice to have in general. But yeah, so there's really not much to this fight, so I'm gonna go ahead and actually talk about some of the development team who worked on this game. One of whom is the artist for the Pied Piper fan recreation, Forrest. He made the portrait art for this game along with the promotional art to this game as well. He's basically a Japanese Xenosaga fan who has his own blog page alongside a fan-remade Pied Piper manga that he has just because the game at the time of making it was not playable in any kind of form. The manga can be found on his blog page if you ever want to take a look at it, and it's really good with reenacting scenes too. Right here, when Sleipnir says that he is preparing a special attack, everyone must defend because this attack can be really nasty, so I want to make sure I pay attention to what he's doing right here. So right here he's using a move called Sweep, which hits everybody in the party, so if we didn't guard there, it would have done a heck of a lot more damage. Let me go back to Forrest now. So Forrest came on board with the development because the developer of the game found Forrest on a Japanese blog, and he needed someone to at least use his art for the manga first. Certain expressions were missing from the concept art made by Noboru Chitsuhara. However, contacting him was pretty difficult in the end of the day, since there was no direct way to contact him and the developer was not the most fluent in Japanese. He had to get the help of Lugo Banda, a prominent member of the Xeno translation community, who translated many pieces of official stuff for the Xeno series. Lugo Banda actually knew how to contact Forrest, so the developer basically had a hand in actually being able to contact Forrest. So both the developer and Lugo Banda had to set up an email chain, and then a Discord DM in order to communicate with each other. Forrest eventually came on board because he was interested in the Passion project once it was shown off. Though he was worried about the project being a profit at first, but the developer said it was a free project that he worked on because he had a passion for Xenosaga. Forrest then hopped on board with many prototype portraits, and the final portraits that were used in the game itself. I'll be quite honest, Forrest's work is amazing. He did such a great job with the expressions of characters in cutscenes and getting hit in boss fights. I especially like Menace's reaction when she was slapped by Lactus in the previous cutscene. Without Forrest, the project of the character portraits looking really good will take a good long while as well. Anyways, we finally defeated our first boss fight, and we got survivalware from that. Here we have we learned some new moves as well. Jan learned Balance, Menace learned Beam Bolt 1, Lactus leveled up, and Bugs learned Beam Bolt 1 as well. Really cool ether moves in general that we'll get to talking about later. We have to hurry. Just a little further and we'll reach the location where the ambassadors are being detained. Looks like Menace doesn't have a really good feeling about this. Anyways, let's go ahead and equip those items that we got. So, first and foremost, let's finally not have Menace be so squishy and wear that survival wear. And let's also give that scope that we got from the last fight and put it on Bugs. That would be really helpful to have him on there. The scope allows you to see enemy HP and weaknesses and resistances, which I'll be able to show you in the next fight. So it's really helpful to have in general. And oh my god, I need to heal. Okay, I healed up. Let's go ahead and continue on. Onwards to victory, and yep, okay, wow, there was already a healing point up ahead. I didn't mean to actually go back there then. Alright, let's go ahead and take this Ainz on again, this Ainz macrophage. Anyways, I want to go ahead and show you what the scope can do. So anybody can do this, but even if you don't have the scope equipped, anybody can basically see the HP of the enemy and weaknesses it has. So basically, as we talked about before, the Ainz enemies are weak to thunder attacks. There's really not much that Lactus can do, so he'll basically be attacking. He's also resistant to fire attacks as well. So it's really noticeable to actually do that too. I'm gonna actually have Menace boost here, so I can talk about Bolt Beam 1, which attacks using beam damage, and it's very effective to use against macrophage enemies because of their low ether defense, basically. But of course, these Ainz enemies are pretty resistant against fire attacks. So having Menace learn Fire 1, like in the beginning, just in general, it's not the most helpful thing in the world to even have to be able to learn right now, and learning Thunderbolt Thunderbolt one is actually more helpful, despite Bugs already learning Thunderbolt in general. So having both Thunderbolts and more Ether moves in general, it's just really helpful to use against Ainz enemies. Here we got a level up right here. And right here, we got a Medkit 1. I'm probably going to be cutting out, like, a lot of these fights because they're basically just us fighting a lot of the same kind of enemies here. Like this macrophage up ahead. And I am going to get back attacked by that guy. Well, it's a good time to show this here, which the enemy back attacks us. We are actually stunned by them. So, as you can see multiple times before, we get hit by these freaking macrophages. So, ow! Ow! Also, the macrophage inflicted a move called Lock On, which, if in case you played Xenoblade before, Lock On is basically like a way for enemies to basically target only one character. So, it's really annoying in general to use in the end, if you do happen to use it. These macrophages are, as I said before, are weak to beam attacks. So even though we defeat them in one shot, it's actually they actually just get massively destroyed here. So let's do Phoenix Strike S here. And Beam Bolts. Okay, we're done here. We're done, sir. Alright. Let's go ahead and equip that Bat Bag on Bugs right here. Bat Bag. Increases our Vitality and Ether attack by a little bit. I'm gonna go back to heal at the thing. Alright, all healed up now, just by touching that thing to its limits. Because touching is very good. Anyways, we have another segment address just like we saw before. This right here is segment address 3. So now it's time to talk about another menu option, which is called the segment address menu. Basically, when you go into it, you'll see that there's 16 segment addresses in this game to be looking for. You would also need a decoder, in order to open them all. And for anybody that has played any of the Xenosaga games, you may be familiar with what this basically is. You need to find a decoder in a treasure chest located somewhere in the game. It could be found through boss fights or side quests and stuff. The decoder number corresponds to the segment address that is available, and you can go back to the segment address store, and then you can get treasure that's inside of it. It's a really cool feature that the developer of the fan recreation put into this game, and it was not made in the original phone game, so lots of kudos for the developer for putting something so tried and true to the series, and just put it in the game in general. Let's go ahead and knock this guy flat on his face. Wait, no. Wait, no! I didn't mean to... does that count as a back attack? Okay, great. Okay, that was a close one. I was gonna cut this fight out, but yeah, I made a doo-doo there. Made a doo-doo? Great English, man. Great English. I was supposed to cut out this battle, damn it. We on level 6. Okay. Anyways, right here in this chest is an escape pack, which is kind of like a Pokédoll in Pokemon. It lets you run away from battles for free. I don't know how many times I'll be using this because escaping from battles is kind of simple in general to do. Nothing really too difficult about that, just from escaping battles. Maybe there's some enemies that can, like, one-hit KO you if they rather tried. So, anyways, let's go ahead and continue forward. Oh, a dead end? It can't be. This must be the point NGPP642T8. Bugs, can you detect the ambassador's life signs? Yes, I'm certain that it's coming from this direction, but... What's this? I'm detecting a large-scale reconstruction of virtual space. Menace, secure the escape route. It's useless. I can't open it. A trap. Who set it? And for what purpose? It's to turn the screen white, and everything's gone. What was that? Captain, what the hell is this? It would seem that the security has been activated. Bugs, can you determine our current location? I'm on it. There doesn't seem to be any change in our location, but... wait just a minute. I'm getting a communication from Eric. It seems our trace is still being pursued, right? I'll redirect a connection over to him.
Can you hear me?
Affirmative. There's a little noise, but I can hear you. Do you know what's going on?
I analyzed the trace log, and it seems there was a massive external interference affecting the virtual space earlier.
Massive interference? Did the enemy rebuild the space to trap us?
Please rest assured, I had just enough time to construct a protective field around your location. Luckily, when the room was reconstructed earlier, a break in the connection caused the corridor to the ambassador's captivity point to appear. Please approach point NGPP642T8 from there, Captain.
Understood. I'm cutting communication for a while. I'll contact you again when we've located the ambassadors. Meanwhile, find the external program that's interfering with this space. Over.
Wait a moment!
Mikhail!
Yes. Several members of the Archon police force appear to have been caught up in the reconstruction earlier. Please rescue them as well.
I will. This virtual space. It's been more dangerous than I expected. When we find the officers, I'll urge them to log out immediately.
Thank you.
And here we are. We're in a different space here in the UMN. Alright, everybody leveled up to level 7 in that last fight, so... let's go ahead and get this chest down here, which contains a biosphere. The biosphere is a full heal of all allies for both HP and EP, but can only be used outside of battles, so this is very hard to come by. So make sure you use them wisely in general when you eventually do use them. Oh! Right here! You can initiate a takedown when you use a barrel... When you go into a back attack on enemies right here. When you do that, you can basically take out these enemies just like this and be able to get experience points from that. So it's a nice way of going through enemies just whenever you can do it, whenever you can deal with them. Right here is a green oasis. This equipment right here, this ring equipment, will increase the HP of anybody who wears it. It's by 10%, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on Jan right here. Right here is a segment address 16. We'll have to remember that for later. We'll just see. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate this attack again right here. Initiating a takedown, and it makes sure you get an auto win right here. And I'm going to go ahead and skip by that guy. And, wow. These guys don't really put much of a fight in general. They're just there, so let's go ahead and continue forward. Captain, huh? No, it's not my fault. If only you had stopped, we wouldn't have been forced to shoot you. This is odd. Stop it! Don't come any closer! Please! I'm begging you! Forgive me! You! What? Young lady, I'm in this mess because I ended up being commanded by a young lady like you. I tried to stop you, if you hadn't been so reckless. Oh, I know. You tried to stop me. And it was you who rushed ahead in spite of the danger. This was all about you rushing to achieve a promotion, wasn't it? And here we have a fight against Cordell. Let's go ahead and use... Well, let's go ahead and have Jan go next here, because I want to show off a new ether that he can use in this fight. I'm going to go ahead and just use Jackal on this guy. And right here, let's go ahead and use Balance. This increases accuracy for all allies, making their hits hit, in a way, I guess. This is very useful to have in boss fights in general, so it's good to have. Cordell is weak to ice moves, which we don't really have an ice move just right about now. And he's dead. Pretty easy boss fight in my eyes, and Jan now learns a new ether, which is Balance Down. Really useful ether move right there for certain bosses fights, so... Captain, what was that just now? Someone probably traced the record of our actions and hacked into the system. It was just an illusion. I caused those people to die. Menace, during an operation, you should only be thinking of numbers and tactics. Enemies will analyze your way of thinking when they attack. Show weakness to them, and you'll be the next one to end up dead. Yes, sir. Captain, I know. Our movements are being watched by the enemy. We should hurry. We got a long road ahead. Next time on Xenosaga Pied Piper, we will continue on in the Assembly Hall program and see where we can find the Goodwill Ambassadors. Until next time, see you on the other side!